Hello again. I've decided to do a stationery Q&A after a few people asked me why I am so into stationery, and I think now that my relationship with Bureau Directors sadly ended, it's a really good time to talk about it, because they did open a little bit more of my stationery world to me, and I got the opportunity to try out things that I'd never thought about before. I got inspiration from their website, and it's just made me even more excited about stationery, if that was ever possible. So I opened up to Facebook and Twitter to ask me any questions, and I got a few back, which was rather surprising. Anyway, we will start with I've written them down in my book because I know I'll forget them otherwise, so I might have to read a couple of them. So the first question was from Ted, who is on Twitter, and he asked me, why is it called stationery? So that's a very good place to start. And those of you who are into stationery will get really annoyed when it is spelled incorrectly. So it is stationery with an E for envelope. That is your paper products and your pencil cases, your greeting cards and writing implements. And stationery with an A for absolutely still means to be stood still. And I was quite intrigued by this because I wasn't really sure why it was called stationery, but I had a little look on Wikipedia, and apparently originally the people who sold paper products near universities sold from a stationary spot, as in absolutely still, and they were called stationers because they were still. So right, I'm making this far more complicated than it needs to be. So they were absolutely still, but their general name was stationers with an E because of the way the English language works, and that just stuck, that stationers sold stationery from a stationary spot. As I say, too confusing. I'm not very good at this. Go and have a look on Wikipedia because it is quite interesting. Then Ted asked me what my favourite item of stationery was, and I obviously have to go with my Filofax. I know it's not really an item of stationery, but it houses a lot of my stationery, and those that know me know I've always been a Filofax girl. Even though I go to other notebooks and other ways of recording my thoughts, I always come back to my Filofax. I'm in and out of love with it again at the moment, but and I'm not in the personal anymore, as you may have noticed. I'm back in the Kensington. I'm not in the compact anymore, back in the Kensington, which I still love. I just wish it was a brighter colour. So yes, I will always be a Filofax girl because it's just a really great way to carry everything that I need. So then Ted asked me, has anyone ever not stolen stationery from work? Now, I don't steal stationery from work. I'm not just saying this because my boss might be looking in, but stationery at work is shit. It's boring, and who needs yellow post-it notes when you've got a load of fun stuff at home? And staplers are a little bit boring. I've got lovely coloured staplers here, and I've got stapleless staplers, and diaries are usually quite boring, and I've got my Filofax and I've got my notebooks, and I don't see the point. Use your stationery at work for work stuff, and then come home and use the fun stuff. That's simple. Still with Ted, I'm starting to get a bit worried by now. He asked me, I have to read this just to get it right. Do kids still jab each other with compass points in school? Do adults do this at work? And is it a sackable offence? Well, I'm not sure why you'd use a compass at work unless you were a draftsman or something like that. I mean, if you use a compass at work, let me know in the comments why you do that. And yeah, I'm sure kids still do it at school. It's a rite of passage as far as I'm concerned. I may ask my 15-year-old if that has ever happened in the past few years at school. But yeah, I'm not sure people do it at work. But who knows? Let me know. And then Ted asked me, yeah, still Ted. Then Ted asked me, is writing on your hand really poisonous, and did anybody ever die from it? And at that point, I blocked Ted on Twitter. Staying with Twitter, I got a question from Happy Sadcross, who said, how do I convince my husband that all the stationery I order is really necessary? Dead simple answer to this. Buy him something he will use and he will love, and he will completely understand your addiction after that. And if he doesn't, then just get rid of him, divorce him, I don't care. No, seriously. Yeah, it's like with any hobby or with likes and dislikes, everybody's different. My husband completely doesn't get my love of stationery, although he is very prepared to use some of it, and I think that's where the happy medium happens, because he knows there's always something there for him to use if he needs to, but he's got his own, you know, sort of like lovely things that he enjoys and I don't quite understand, but that's another video, you know. Lisa from Hollybobs, she asked me what my top 3 stationery brands are. Now, as I say, working with Bureau Direct for the last 6 months has opened my eyes to a few stationery brands that I didn't even know were out there, very much the Japanese ones and all, you know, even more fun stuff. But my top 3 are, number 1 will always be Filofax. Let's just, I mean, you know I'm going to mention this over and over again, but it will always be Filofax. Filofax is because of the leather are always really expensive, and I know people have either one that lasts them forever and ever, or they become ever so slightly addicted to them and want different ones for different things. I've got about 5 or 6, and I have sold a couple in the past. But this is the one I keep going back to at the moment, and this was a huge bargain. This was 11 quid on eBay, and that was including postage, and it came from Finland. So yeah, that is my number 1 stationery brand that I will always love, is Filofax. Number 2 stationery brand is, I sort of go between Moleskine and Lecton 1917, however you say it. I love their notebooks. Moleskine paper is a little bit thinner. The Lecton paper is a lot better to write on with ink, and I do write with ink a lot. So I do sway between the two. But yeah, if I couldn't actually choose, if I had to choose, no, I could never choose between Moleskine and Lecton. It just depends what's on offer at the time, what is more affordable, and maybe even the colour of the notebook. So there you go, that is my second stationery brand that I love. And the third stationery brand that I love was one that I did discover through Bureau Direct, and it was Paperways. I love their, they have, you've seen it on my videos before, they have little memo books that are desk books. They have post-it notes. It's just all very, as I go back to saying, fun and usable. So check out Paperways. They're great. I love it. So Paperways is my third choice. Over on Facebook, Emma asked me what was my best ever stationery purchase. Now I have 2. So I know I'm cheating already, but you know. The first one is this. It's elastic loop. This is actually an A5 size, and this is a pen holder for notebooks. So it keeps your notebook closed. I'll show you on this, because I use on this one all the time. It keeps your notebook closed, but also it gives you a place to hold your pens. Now I actually have it normally at the side like this. So let's get that straight. So it holds your pen. Let's use this pen here. At the side of your book, or some people have it around the front like that, and you can get them in all different sizes. I think you can get them in about 3 or 4. You can get them in A4, A5 and A6, I think. So that is by Papelot, or Papelote, Papelot. I think it's a French brand, and they come in all different colours as well. This one's a green one. And then the second one is this Lecton pen loop, because the Lecton and Moleskine books are known for not having pen loops, and as I say, you could use one of these, but this is great just to, it's got sticky on the back. You just peel this off and you stick it to the inside of your notebook, and they just sit inside, the pen loop sticks out so you can carry a pen. This, in my Filofax, I'll show you. I actually have one in here, my black one. You can probably just see it on there. This pen loop here, where are we? This pen loop here is leather and it doesn't stretch. I do like an elasticator one. Now there is a method to stretch this, and there is a video on YouTube from Kent, by Kent from Oz, that shows you how to stretch this. However, it has never really worked effectively for me. So I just got this black pen loop, and it is elasticated. I should say, oops. Well, that was clever, wasn't it? It is elasticated, but I just dropped my pen in there and it sits exactly at the side where it would be. So these are really, really handy. Again, you can get those in all different colours. So that was that. Those are my 2 best ever stationery purchases so far. Over on Facebook, Carolyn asked me what 3 stationery items did I have to have but I've never actually used. I tend to use everything that I buy, but my least used are probably washi tape, because I buy just loads of it. I use it, but I have a jar full of washi tape that is in all different thicknesses, colours, designs. So yeah, I collect it, don't always use it, should really use it a little bit more. Second is my Lamy fountain pen. I love it, but don't often get the opportunity to use it. So because I love writing in ink, the way I get around this is using my J. Herbin, which is like a rollerball, but it actually uses ink cartridges, and I know I've mentioned this before. So I still use ink, but in a more appropriate way for everyday use. I wish there was an opportunity to use my Lamy more, but at the moment it's not there. And number 3, which way around do we do it? 3 is probably all the post-it notes or sticky notes that I get. I do get some in stationery boxes when I subscribe to them. I buy little fun ones that I see, all different shapes and sizes, and I've probably got a stash of those as well. So yeah, sticky notes is probably the least used. I mean, I keep them in Filofax again. I keep them in Filofax, and I do use them as flags and to scribble notes on, and I do dispose of them, you know, such like they are what I rip off and chuck in the bin when I finish using them. So I do use them, but I've got a stash like a mountain upstairs of sticky notes. Next, Fee on, I think it was Facebook, asked me where can I get coloured ink cartridges for my fountain pen that don't cost the earth. First and foremost, I'm not working with them anymore, but I am going to recommend Bureau Direct. Have a look at the website. The ink cartridges will, the cost of them will differ depending on which pen you have, but I've always found them to be the most reasonable and have the most colour choices. Use that as your first point of call, and just let me know how you get on. And then the last question I'm going to answer today, well, it's sort of like the same question from 2 people. Fee asked me again, I love stationery, but you're on a whole other level. What is it that gets you excited about it? And then Kate asked me, why does stationery give you such a boner? The answer to this is, I'm going back to the beginning. I'm just going to say stationery has to be fun and affordable. I need to want to use it. It gets me feeling creative, and it makes me want to write. It makes me want to just, you know, do things with it. Oh, it's really hard to explain. Other stationery lovers out there will know exactly what I'm on about. And as I said, it is one of these things, it's like Marmite, you either get it or you don't. And if you don't, you never understand why a stationery lover really does love their stationery. But as I say, it's got to be fun, it's got to be affordable, and it gets me feeling creative, because I actually love writing. And even, I call it writing, you know, sort of typing for my blog and things like that, but I actually do love actual handwriting. That's why I use notebooks and journals all the time. So there you go. And that is the end of the stationery Q&A. If I didn't answer your question, or you have a question for me, leave it in the comments down below. I always reply to my comments, because I love having conversations with people, and hope you enjoyed this. So thanks for watching. See you all again soon. Bye for now.